Most people decorate in neutral because it feels safe. White walls, gray sofa, maybe a cream rug, and the hope is you'll end up with something timeless and chic. But more often than not, the result feels flat, lifeless, and honestly a little bit depressing. Because without color to lean on, every other detail suddenly matters more. The shapes, the textures, the contrast, even the finishing touches. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 6 mistakes that quietly ruin neutral rooms and the exact fixes that turn them from boring to beautiful. I call this mistake the sea of sameness. Almost every neutral room that feels boring suffers from it. Basically, a space made entirely of boxes. A boxy sofa, a rectangular coffee table, a blocky TV stand, maybe a simple bookshelf. When every piece is just another box and all the colors are muted neutrals, your eye has nowhere to land. The whole space feels stiff. Here's the thing, shapes are just as powerful as color and design. Even in a neutral room, the silhouettes of your furniture create rhythm and movement. Now, you don't need to swap every piece, but you do need at least one hero piece. Think of it like casting the lead actor in a movie. The supporting roles matter, but the star is what people remember. That star could be a curved accent chair to soften the edges, a coffee table with a sculptural base, or even a sofa with lines that are just a little unexpected. Even within the same type of furniture, the details can completely change the look. A plain rectangular coffee table can feel heavy and boxy, but swap it for one with curved edges, tapered legs, or an open base, and suddenly it feels lighter and more interesting. But don't stop there. You can also play with shapes with smaller decor, a handmade vase, a pendant, or lamp with an interesting silhouette, curtains that soften all those straight lines, even a plant which naturally has organic shapes. They all add movement and variety. So, before you buy your next piece, ask yourself, am I just adding another box, or does this piece bring shape and movement into the room? Sometimes it's hard to picture how a new piece will actually look in your space. That is exactly why I built Room Visualizer AI. You upload a photo of your room and instantly see a completely new look styled to your taste. You can even swap in different furniture and see how it changes the feel of your space. It is currently in beta and invite only, but you can join the waitlist via the link below. This mistake is sneaky because on the surface, the room looks fine. You've got the paint, the sofa, maybe even a rug. But then you step back and realize everything is smooth and flat. When your colors are quiet, a lack of texture becomes so obvious it makes your space feel completely lifeless. Take this example. The light brown sofa has a nubbly textured weave, which is contrasted with the smooth blue coffee table. That one pairing gives you soft versus hard and matte versus glossy. Without those contrasts, the whole room just blends together. Think of texture like seasoning in cooking. Without it, the dish might look fine, but it tastes bland. Same with your design. When your colors are quiet, texture is what gives the room depth and flavor. The fix is to layer different textures and material. Denim curtains against a jute rug, a buttery leather chair next to warm wood grain, aged brass or stone accents to add richness. And remember, authentic materials are great additions as they age beautifully. Real leather, wood, or metal develop patina over time, adding character that MDF and faux finishes never will. It doesn't all have to be big furniture pieces either. Smaller decor can pull weight too. A chunky knit throw, handmade ceramics, a rattan basket, or a rough clay vase all bring that tactile quality. Vintage pieces are another great option. They come with built-in texture and a sense of history. And don't forget about visual texture. A subtle plate in a neutral colorway, a quiet herringbone floor, or marbling in a fireplace surround adds rhythm without overwhelming your space. As a rule of thumb, aim for at least 3 different textures or materials in any neutral room. That variety is what keeps the space from feeling flat. This mistake comes from a good place, the desire for calm and timelessness. But it often backfires. When everything is the same mid-tone beige or gray, the space doesn't feel serene, it just feels flat. And if you push one trendy neutral too far, like the all gray or all beige homes we saw everywhere a few years ago, it doesn't just fall flat, it dates your home overnight. So, how do you keep a neutral space calm but not boring? You need contrast. First, bring in a touch of black. It's like eyeliner for your room. It sharpens the look and makes the other neutrals feel brighter and fresher. And it doesn't even have to be pure black. Charcoal stripe cushions, a dark bronze lamp, even a very dark wood tone can do the job. Next, mixed tones. Warm oak next to a cool gray sofa or creamy linen paired with crisp white instantly makes a room feel layered and balanced. If everything leans too warm, it starts to feel a bit dated. If everything leans too cool, it starts to feel sterile. The mix is what keeps it interesting. And finally, bring in patterns. A lot of people skip it because they're worried it will look too busy. But avoiding patterns altogether strips away personality. It's like the room has no pulse. The trick is to keep patterns quiet. A herringbone floor, subtle stripes on a pillow, a geometric weave in a rug, a wallpaper, a throw, or marbling on a fireplace surround. These patterns don't shout, but they give the space rhythm and depth. When you layer dark and light, warm and cool, and a few quiet patterns, that is when neutrals stop feeling safe and start feeling sophisticated. And if you want a handy cheat sheet, I've put together a free decorating mistakes checklist. It covers 15 of the most common mistakes that instantly cheapen a room and shows you what to do instead, with quick rules for rugs, lighting, art height, curtains, spacing, and more. This is another super common mistake. You've nailed the big stuff. The sofa is in place, the rug is down, the neutral palette looks great, but the room still feels incomplete. That is because you've skipped the final layer, the jewelry of the room. It's like putting on an amazing outfit but forgetting earrings, a watch, the tie, or even shoes in a room that usually shows up as bare walls or builder-grade lighting. The fix is to invest in 3 core finishing pieces: art, mirrors, and light fixtures. An oversized mirror isn't just practical, it bounces natural light, makes the room feel bigger, and instantly elevates the space. And if the budget is tight, second-hand or vintage mirrors are everywhere, often at a fraction of the price. Lighting is another big one. Don't settle for the default overhead. A sculptural chandelier, a bold floor lamp, or even a unique table lamp acts like functional art. It adds shape, height, and drama that basic fixtures never can. That is why you always see incredible lighting in everything from high-end designer homes to cozy Scandinavian interiors. And don't overlook portable lamps. They're one of the easiest ways to add soft, layered lighting exactly where you need it. On my recent trip to Europe, I noticed how seriously people take their lighting, especially portable lamps. They were everywhere in restaurants, cafes, and homes, creating this warm, intimate glow. I even bought a beautiful green marble lamp, and it's been such a game changer. And of course, art. This doesn't mean expensive gallery pieces. It just has to be something you genuinely love. A large-scale abstract painting, a gallery wall of photos, or even a textured textile piece all bring personality back into a neutral space. The jewelry layer is what takes the room from looking decorated to feeling designed. One of the biggest hidden mistakes with neutrals is ignoring undertones. On the surface, beige is beige and gray is gray, right? But every neutral has an undertone: pink, yellow, green, violet, taupe. And if you mix the wrong ones, the whole room feels subtly off. This is why some colors look amazing in one space, but completely wrong in another. Here's a simple example of how the same color can look completely different in 2 different rooms. This is why you need to always test colors together before you commit. Don't just test paint swatches on their own. Compare them to your finishes. Hold them up next to your flooring, tiles, countertops, upholstery, even your curtain fabric. Why? Because color exists in relationships. The same exact color will look completely different depending on what is around it. And if your room already has fixed finishes like carpet, tile, or stone fireplace, those become your starting point. Work with those undertones, not against them. This is one of the things I teach you in depth in Chapter 2 of my Practical Home Design course. So check that out if you're interested. Now, one of the easiest ways to build a harmonious palette is to start with a pattern that includes the undertone from your fixed finishes and adds in the fresh colors you want to decorate with. This could be a rug, wallpaper, or a piece of art. Then repeat those colors across your space in large, medium, and small doses. And remember, undertones are always there, whether you notice them or not. Once you start paying attention, you'll never unsee them, And that is what separates timeless neutral rooms from the ones that just feel off. The last mistake is designing a room that is entirely static. Maybe it is full of nice furniture and textiles, but there's nothing organic or living, so it feels stiff. The fastest ways to fix this is to add greenery. A tall statement plant in the corner instantly softens the room and draws the eye upward. A dramatic branch on a dining table adds movement to the space. Even a small arrangement on a coffee table or nightstand changes the mood. Plants tick all the boxes. They add texture, color, organic shape, and variety, all while being one of the most affordable ways to add life. And if you're worried about keeping them alive, don't stress. You can get dried branches or arrangements that are practically the real thing, but don't need any upkeep. And if you go for faux, just make sure to trim and shape the branches so they don't look stiff. That is the dead giveaway of a fake plant. I have a few myself that are reshaped so they don't read as fake. And don't forget the container too. A plant in the wrong pot can look like an afterthought, but one in a beautiful ceramic planter becomes part of the decor. And before we wrap up, let's talk about one final mistake I see all the time: the panic pop of color. Someone realizes their neutral room feels boring, and in desperation, they toss on a couple of bright pillows or paint a random accent wall. The problem is that accent colors grab your eye instantly. So if they are not handled with intention, they look cheap and out of place, like a last-minute panic buy. To make accent colors work, try to follow the rule of 3. Anytime you introduce a new accent color, repeat it at least 3 times in the room. And don't repeat it in the exact same way, but use different shades and tones of the color in different sizes, textures, and materials so it feels layered. For example, in this living room with red accents, there's a muted pillow, a brighter shade in the artwork, and a natural version in the autumn leaves on the mantle. Same color family, 3 different tones, 3 different textures. You could do the same with blue, rust, green, or any colors. By spreading those accents around the room, your eye moves throughout the space, and that is what makes it feel intentional and thoughtful. Accent colors aren't a shortcut to fix a boring neutral room. They're the final brushstroke that makes it feel intentional. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on the 5 biggest interior design mistakes that cheapen your home and how to fix them. Or this video on 9 things I'll never do in my home as a designer. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.